STD testing can be a very anxiety-filled experience. Nobody wants to talk about their symptoms or who they had intercourse with, especially with a complete stranger like a provider. But it's very important for people to get screened for STDs if they have symptoms of an STD, but also routinely if they have a history of any high-risk sexual activity. The reality is a lot of people don't know the various options on how to get treated for STDs, and that could be a huge barrier for people to get screened and treated accordingly. When it comes to choosing an option to get screened for STDs, some people are real private and they don't want to talk to any providers. Other people don't care. Some people have an insurance or money, and other people have no insurance and no money. And then some people actually live in rural areas where they don't have access to healthcare, and then other people live in big cities where there's tons of different options. That's why in today's video, I'll be answering the question, how do I get tested for STDs? Boom. Thanks to Let's Get Checked for sponsoring this video. I left a link in the description below for some at-home STD screening kits with a discounted code to hook you guys up. But I'll discuss this option a little bit more in detail further on in the video. If you're new to my channel and you like my content, please consider liking and subscribing below to keep this ball rolling. Also, if you have any topics you want me to cover, please make a comment below and I'll definitely consider that in the future. I also try to respond to every comment below, so if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, also called sexually transmitted infections, are on the rise across the world. Large organizations like the CDC see this as a major issue, which is why they emphasize the importance of STD screening and testing if needed. We also have to ensure people are getting educated on STD prevention. For example, males should be utilizing a condom during intercourse to prevent getting STDs and also prevent spreading STDs. Although condoms are not 100%, they are very effective in preventing and transmitting STDs. There's also the HPV vaccine that can help prevent genital warts as well as cervical cancer in women. There's also medications out there for people that are at high risk of developing HIV that they can take to help prevent HIV from occurring. So why should you get tested for STDs? The main reason people should get tested for STDs is, of course, to discover an STD and get treated accordingly, to not only prevent the spread of STDs, but also to prevent the complications like infertility. Also, many people can be asymptomatic and have an STD. So for example, you have two people who are going to be in a long-term relationship and they want to have unprotected intercourse. It's always wise to get an STD panel prior to starting any type of unprotected intercourse to make sure you both are good to go. So diving into the question, where can I get tested for STDs? Number one, a provider's office. A provider office visit, also called a medical clinic visit, should be everyone's number one choice when it comes to STD testing. The reason why is a provider that can get a good history, get a good physical exam, and get any swabs if needed. Also, you gotta remember that it might not be an STD. It could be something else like a yeast infection or a rash or a bacterial skin infection or some other disorder. I'm gonna reiterate this because it's very important. Anytime somebody's having symptoms of a potential STD, their number one choice for testing should be with their provider. A virtual visit or an at-home kit shouldn't be the first choice above a provider visit. Option 2, local health clinics. There are various government and non-government funded clinics across the United States that either have no cost or low cost STD testing. Now, there's no guarantee that these clinics are located in your state or regions of the state, so definitely do your research and see if there's any in your local area. Now, this is a great resource, but the problem is a lot of these clinics are located in bigger cities, bigger metropolitan areas, so people who are living outside the city or in rural areas may not have this resource available. Another downside is usually you're seeing a complete stranger. You're not seeing the provider that you typically see in your normal clinic that you receive your normal healthcare. So the privacy is not there. But again, it's a no cost or low cost, so you have to weigh your pros and cons. Option 3, at-home STD screening companies. Discrete STD testing can be difficult, but there's some companies out there that can give you that privacy, and one of them is Let's Get Checked, and they're a phenomenal company. What happens is you order the STD test online, they send it to your door, you complete the labs in the privacy of your own home, and then send it back to their accredited lab. Once the results are back, they can send you the results, or you can download the app, which you can view your results right there on your phone. Now this does cost money, but it's a great way to get private STD testing in your own home, especially if you're asymptomatic, meaning you don't have any symptoms at all. I left a link in the description below with a discounted code if you're interested. The fourth option, Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a very good option for a lot of people as well, and they're very similar to local health clinics, but in a lot of locations, they also have virtual and in-person visits available. Again, Planned Parenthood also offers no cost or low cost STD testing, but it all depends on your income, your household size, and also different programs that are available in your region. The great news is there's Planned Parenthood locations all over the United States, and also they have a really good website that gives you a lot of educational information on STDs. Option number 5, urgent care clinics and pharmacies. Certain urgent care clinics can test for STDs and treat patients if it's clinically indicated. This typically does have some out-of-pocket costs. If somebody has healthcare insurance, likely they'll have to pay a copay for STD testing, but other people can pay completely cash if they want to, but that's a little pricey as well. Definitely do your research because not all urgent cares can provide STD testing. Also, you want to do your research on your insurance because sometimes insurance companies will not pay for STD testing. Some pharmacies also offer some at-home STD screening kits as well as on-site STD testing. Remember that not all pharmacies offer these services, so you definitely want to do your research in that regard as well. You have to remember that a lot of these STD screening kits seen in these pharmacies are usually for 1, 2, or 3 different diseases, but typically people need a full panel to make sure everything is checked. And you gotta remember that these tests aren't free, so there's gonna be some out-of-pocket costs. Remember, the main goal is for people to feel comfortable with getting an STD check, because if they indeed have an STD, they need to get treated as soon as possible. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable to see a provider or do a virtual visit with a provider and they continue to spread an STD, that is not good. So if they're willing to do an at-home STD screening kit through an online system or a pharmacy, that's better than nothing, because if that turns up positive, those people will be more inclined to go see their provider and get treatment. But remember, the number one choice is always to see your primary care provider. So that way they can discuss with you all the various STDs, give you some good education, do a good history review, do a good physical exam, order any labs, and if you need treatment, they're there to treat you. Remember that untreated STDs can cause a myriad of issues, to include potential infertility, as well as organ damage, along with a lot of other stuff. So it's very important that if you have symptoms of a potential STD, to get screened. Also, if you're participating in any high-risk sexual activity, you should be getting screened routinely. Well, that wraps up today's video on how do I get tested for STDs. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing below. Otherwise, until next time.